This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today is James Gilbertson, the Vice President of Exploration at AEX Gold. Hi James, welcome. How are you?
Good morning. Very good, thank you.
Well, it's the first time that we're speaking, James. It's nice to have you on Stockbox. But before we have a look into the recent Sava RNS, could you give a quick introduction to what your role is within AEX Gold and what exploration and mining experience that you have?
Certainly, yes. As the VPX of AEX, I essentially oversee all the exploration strategy for the company and its discovery opportunities and manage their field operations. I joined AEX now in September of 21 formally, but have worked with the group extensively for some time while I was working with SRK, where I had been for about 17 years as an exploration and resource geologist, both here in the UK and also within our South American offices, where I actually opened up and constructed the new mining division within the Lima office. I actually finished off at SRK as the managing director of SRK Exploration, which is the exploration division within the group. Prior to my involvement with SRK, I worked in the junior sector, predominantly in gold exploration, both in West and Central Africa. So I've got quite a broad experience, both geographically and deposit style.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. So the company have released some news from your Sava license where results indicate iron oxide, copper, gold style mineralization with multiple targets developed in a potential high-grade multi-element play. Could you give an overview of the extensive program?
Certainly, yes. So Sava was one of our key target areas for our 2021 program after the award of the license, which is located quite close to the Nasaswak International Airport and the Kavanafeldt Rare Earth Project. We've long believed that this area was significantly more interesting and detailed than what it was historically mapped, which was just as an undifferentiated granite. So we kicked off our work with some spectral remote sensing on a desk basis, which allowed us to provide a series of initial targets for ground proofing. Then through 2021, we conducted both geophysics and geochemistry studies, and then topped that off with a further round of spectral remote sensing on a ground basis. And that has really allowed us to critique and identify these three distinct and fairly extensive targets that have a clear ICG geochemistry and alteration signature, which we're very excited about. And yet again, and particularly from the geophysics data, we can illustrate clearly that the Sava license is far from anything than uninteresting, undifferentiated granite, but is in fact a very complex, detailed, and interesting deposit style in a very emerging area, which we believe to be an emerging ICG Belt in South Greenland.
Okay, so you've mentioned this IOCG, which is iron oxide, copper, gold. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on this style of mineralization and what the sort of IOCG deposits are and their significance and how significant it is that you potentially found one in South Greenland?
Certainly. Yeah, so IOCGs are a relatively new classification of deposit class. They're only really recognized from the early 1980s, or at least from the discovery of the supergiant Olympic Dam deposit in South Greenland, in South Australia, which was discovered, I think, in 1975, which is now around about 3 billion tons, about 1.2% copper and half a gram gold. So very significant deposits. They are fairly loose set of deposit classes and are in terms of their constituent elements and their host rock association, they're quite broad member of deposit. But they tend to be found in Archean and Proterozoic terrains and are all associated with crustal scale structures, and formed through the interplay of both magmatic fluids and oxidizing groundwaters. What that means is they tend to be located on the margins of very large igneous intrusions, which is what we have in South Greenland, and are exhibited at surface as areas of large brecciation and quite often oxide precipitation. And what's particularly interesting with them is that their fairly simple metallurgy makes them, very interesting and profitable targets, very large scale deposits, and are being widely exhibited and explored for across the world. And what's really quite significant for us is that we believe that we've identified an area that is an up-and-coming ICG belt that could potentially be linked through to, in a geodynamic regime, through to similar deposits both in Canada and in Scandinavia.
Okay. So are they quite rare?
No, they're not. They're actually, as I said, they're a fairly new deposit class in terms of academic study. But as we grow and understand them more and more, many deposits around the world that have not necessarily fitted into the classic porphyry or skarn type of deposits have now been reclassified as ICGs. So it's an evolving class.
Okay, I see. But yeah, it effectively means you have a deposit system where there's multiple elements there, multiple minerals.
Yes, I think as the name suggests, ICG, the main constituents have been copper and gold with sort of an iron element to that. So we can have ICGs in Scandinavia, for example, are particularly iron rich, such as the Kiruna deposit. But then you can have projects that are particularly copper or gold or potentially rarer as well.
Okay, excellent. So what does the roadmap look like then for the next stages of exploration at the Sava license this year?
Yeah, so there's some fairly obvious next steps for us at Sava. Almost all our targets are open in all directions. So we need to conduct some additional sampling and assessment of those results. And we continue to assess these new results from 2021 with a view to finalizing our 2022 exploration program. But exploration will focus on these three targets and look to define and develop them both at surface and at depth.
Okay. I just want to get your thoughts or your comments on something that was in the RNS by the CEO, Elder Olofsson. He said that AEX employed a wide range of innovative and cutting-edge exploration techniques. So I wonder if you can talk about these techniques and how they are assisting you in unlocking the potential across your projects in Greenland.
Sure. So through all my career, I've been passionate about employing the most modern, cutting-edge and current exploration techniques, and that's something that I brought through to AEX, and we're employing that right across the whole South Greenland portfolio. I think key among them are things such as ionic geochemistry, which we've employed at Sava, which is testing very low levels of mobile ions within mineral systems. Spectral remote sensing, both in satellite and ground-based, and there's a lot of new developments within that technology, and identifying and signaturing mineral systems. There's such a thing as mineral systems modeling, which is something I've done quite a lot of, and that is attempting to understand the big picture geologically, and therefore predicting the location of varying styles of mineralization. And then data science and machine learning, which is a growing field within exploration. And what I like to do is encompass all those different techniques within that, critique all that data, and utilize that to optimize our capital allocation right across the portfolio. So there's a whole range of different techniques, and we like to keep our finger on the pulse.
Okay, excellent. Well, it sounds like you've made a good start. So what else is expected in gold and strategic metals over the next few months?
Sure, certainly. We hope to have quite a steady news flow now from AEX. On the gold front, we have our results from 2021 coming in from both our Varga Ridge and Nanoq deposits. These are both significant discoveries within what is now the evolving Nanortalik gold belt that Nalunaq is part of. On the strategic metal side of things, we conducted quite a lot of exploration on the likes of Sarka-Dyke PGM target and our Noram graphite deposit, which we believe to be similar to the Amatsok graphite deposit in South Greenland. On top of that, there are discoveries over in a target called Joachim Shear, which is both copper and gold. And all these results we hope to announce and provide to the market in the coming month or so.
Okay, excellent. Well, James Gilbertson, the Vice President of Exploration at AEX Gold, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.